We live in a world obsessed with appearances, a realm where glossy veneers often conceal profound truths. This isn't just about the curated images on social media, but the very fabric of how we perceive success, love, and worth. Today, we're diving into a story that peels back these layers, a tale of love, betrayal, and the ultimate reckoning, exploring the timeless question: what happens when the pursuit of wealth overshadows the value of genuine connection? Is true love a casualty in the glittering landscape of ambition, or can it emerge, scarred but resilient, from the ashes of deceit? Our journey begins with Toby, a man who, by all outward measures, had conquered the world. He was a billionaire, not just in title but in impact, owning vast businesses that shaped industries, driving the kind of expensive cars that turn heads, and residing in a mansion that wasn't merely a house, but a veritable palace, a monument to ambition and achievement. Yet what truly set Toby apart, what made him an anomaly in the often cutthroat world of the ultra-rich, was his profound humility. This wasn't a feigned modesty, a carefully crafted public persona designed to garner favor. No, Toby's humility was intrinsic, a quiet strength that emanated from his core. He didn't flaunt his wealth, he managed it. He treated every individual with a respect that transcended social strata, understanding that true worth lies not in material possessions, but in character. This deep-seated humility is a remarkable characteristic, especially for someone wielding such immense power and financial influence. It begs the question: how does one accumulate such vast wealth without succumbing to the ego trips and entitlement that often accompany it? Perhaps it was Toby's upbringing, or an innate understanding that money, while powerful, is merely a tool, not an identity. His commitment to responsibility extended beyond his business ventures. It was evident in his personal interactions, his philanthropy, and his genuine interest in the well-being of others. He wasn't just a rich man. He was, by all accounts, a good man, seeking authenticity in a world often dominated by artifice. One serendipitous afternoon, amidst the bustle of a charitable event, a setting perfectly emblematic of Toby's values, he encountered Bella. Bella was, without a doubt, a vision. Her beauty was striking: smooth, radiant skin, cascades of long, lustrous hair, and a smile so captivating it possessed an almost mythical ability to disarm and enchant. It was the kind of beauty that demanded attention, a magnet in any room. But beneath this undeniably appealing exterior lay a stark contrast to Toby's understated elegance. Bella was, to put it mildly, very flashy. Her wardrobe was a parade of the latest haute couture, her neck adorned with gleaming gold necklaces, and her desire for the newest, most coveted smartphone or designer handbag was an open secret. She was a woman who not only appreciated luxury, but seemed to embody its relentless pursuit. Here lies a fascinating duality. Toby, the billionaire, unconcerned with the superficial trappings of wealth, and Bella, the breathtaking beauty, deeply enmeshed in them. How often do we encounter such diametrically opposed values in the initial spark of attraction? Toby surprisingly didn't seem to care about her overt materialism. Perhaps he saw past it, or perhaps his optimistic nature led him to believe that beneath the glitter lay something more profound. He perceived her as different from other women he had met, drawn to her infectious laughter and a certain sweet confidence in her demeanor. Was this confidence genuine self-assurance, or the polished bravado of someone adept at navigating social landscapes? Toby, in his desire for authentic connection, chose to see the former. He saw a vibrant spirit, an engaging personality, and in that initial assessment the seeds of a profound, albeit tragically misguided affection were sown. The relationship blossomed with the predictable rhythm of attraction and courtship. They began talking, then dating, and with each passing day, Toby found himself falling deeper and deeper in love. His love was grand, reflective of his generous spirit and considerable means. He whisked her away to the city's finest restaurants, ensured a weekly delivery of fresh flowers to her door, and showered her with gifts that spoke volumes of his devotion and financial capability. For Toby, these weren't just expenditures. They were expressions of a burgeoning affection, tangible manifestations of his desire to cherish and delight the woman he believed to be his soulmate. He was building a dream, investing not just his money, but his heart, his hopes, and his future into this relationship. Bella, on the other hand, reveled in every moment, but her enjoyment stemmed from a very different source. In her mind, she had struck gold. She had, at last, found the mythical rich man who would effortlessly fulfill her every desire, transforming her aspirations of a luxurious life into a tangible reality. Her perspective was transactional. Toby was not just a partner, but a provider, a key to unlocking the opulent lifestyle she craved. This fundamental misalignment in their motivations, Toby seeking genuine connection, Bella seeking financial security and status, was a ticking time bomb, masked by the intoxicating glamour of their courtship. This dynamic often plays out in relationships where one partner has significantly more wealth. The fear of being used is ever present, and the desire to be loved for oneself becomes a desperate quest. One evening, as the city lights twinkled below them, painting a romantic tableau from their balcony vantage point, Toby decided to formalize his profound commitment. He knelt, a gesture imbued with tradition and deep reverence, and presented a diamond ring that shimmered with a brilliance rivaling the stars themselves. "Bella, will you marry me?" he asked, his voice filled with hopeful anticipation. Bella's response was immediate and effusive. A delighted scream, a joyous leap, and an unequivocal, "Yes, yes, I will marry you." It was a scene straight out of a romantic movie, the kind of moment that dreams are made of. But like many cinematic narratives, the surface glitter concealed a deeper, more complicated truth. Bella, in her excitement, immediately posted a video of the proposal online. Her friends, a chorus of delighted voices, responded with enthusiastic shouts of joy. "Bella, you've made it, a billionaire fiancé, you're now a queen." Their exclamations, while outwardly celebratory, inadvertently highlighted the underlying priorities. The focus wasn't on the profound love story or the emotional connection, but on the financial status of her future husband. This collective validation from her social circle further cemented Bella's belief that she had indeed won the ultimate prize. It was a victory measured in currency, not in sentiment. Following the engagement, Toby, ever the traditionalist, arranged a family meeting. The gathering brought together both sets of parents, a pivotal moment in any marital journey intended to bless and unite the families. Bella's mother, a woman described as loud and overtly fond of money, greeted the news with a broad, ear-to-ear smile, her approval clearly tied to the impressive financial prospects. Bella's father, while more subdued, offered his consent with a conditional nod. "As long as my daughter loves him, we agree." This subtle caveat, even if uttered without full awareness of its weight, would later prove to be tragically ironic. Toby's parents, though immensely wealthy themselves, possessed a calm wisdom that contrasted sharply with Bella's mother's overt enthusiasm. They understood the complexities of wealth and the often deceptive nature of outward appearances. His mother, in a moment of poignant intuition, gently held Bella's hands and offered a heartfelt plea. "Please take care of our son. He loves you too much." This was more than a polite request. It was a prescient warning, a mother's unspoken fear for her son's vulnerable heart. Bella, ever the performer, responded with a sweet, reassuring smile. "Yes, Mommy, I will." It was a promise that, unbeknownst to Toby's mother, was already tainted with deceit. The elaborate preparations for the wedding began in earnest. This wasn't just a ceremony, it was destined to be a spectacle. They embarked on shopping excursions, during which Bella, with unwavering certainty, chose the grandest wedding gown she could possibly find. Her declaration, "I want the world to know this is the wedding of the year," was not merely a statement of ambition, but a manifesto of her desire for public acclaim, a validation of her perceived triumph. Toby, in his boundless love and desire for her happiness, saw no issue with the expense. He simply wanted her dreams to be realized. He spared no cost, acquiring lavish shoes, exquisite gold earrings, and even commissioning dancers and comedians to entertain their guests. Every detail, down to the opulent invitation cards, was meticulously crafted and dispatched, echoing the grandeur of the impending event. Bella, further immersing herself in the performative aspect of the wedding, even produced a pre-wedding video where she danced jubilantly and declared, "I'm about to marry the man of my dreams." It was a perfect illusion, a carefully constructed narrative of love and fairy tale romance. However, beneath this glittering facade, a profound and dangerous secret festered, unbeknownst to Toby. Bella was harboring a truth, something monumental, perilous, and utterly heartbreaking. The stage was set for a dramatic unveiling, a devastating collision of Toby's sincere affection with Bella's calculated deception. This intricate web of pretense highlights a universal vulnerability, how easily love can blind us, how readily we project our own pure intentions onto others, often overlooking glaring discrepancies in values and motivations. Toby, in his wealth and innocence, was ripe for manipulation, and Bella, in her relentless pursuit of luxury, was perfectly poised to exploit it. The night before the wedding, Toby was a whirlwind of joyous anticipation. Sleep was an impossible luxury. His heart thrummed with pure happiness. He paced his room, a broad, childlike smile lighting his face. He paused, gazing at Bella's photograph on his bedside table, his voice a soft whisper in the quiet of the night. "Thank you for choosing me. I'll love you forever." It was a moment of profound vulnerability, a sincere vow whispered to an image, brimming with a future he believed to be certain and beautiful. Just a few minutes away, in a luxurious hotel suite where Bella and her bridal party were ensconced, a very different scene was unfolding. Her phone rang, a seemingly innocuous sound that would trigger a chain of devastating events. Bella, perhaps seeking privacy, stepped outside to answer it. Her voice, hushed and intimate, carried on the night air. "Hello, baby." A pause, then a whispered confession, laced with feigned anxiety. Yes, I'm nervous too." And then the chilling words began to flow, words that would shatter Toby's world. "I can't wait to see you again. Don't worry. This wedding is just for the money. Once I settle with him, I'll come back to you. You're the one I truly love." A casual laugh, a cruel confirmation. "Yes, I'm only marrying him for what he has. After that, we'll run away with the money. You're my real man." But Bella was oblivious. Standing frozen in the shadows at the corner, a tall figure clad in a black suit, was Toby. He had come to surprise her with a bouquet of flowers, a final gesture of devotion before their big day. Instead, he became an unwilling audience to the most painful revelation of his life. His ears registered every word, each one a dagger piercing his heart, shattering his carefully constructed dream. The flowers, now meaningless, slipped from his numb fingers, thudding softly to the ground, a symbolic death knell for his hopes. Toby slowly, mechanically, turned away, walking into the suffocating darkness of the night, his heart irrevocably broken. This moment is a stark illustration of the brutal force of betrayal. It wasn't a slow realization, but an instantaneous, crushing blow. The very act of love, bringing flowers, was met with the cruelest form of deceit. What kind of person, on the eve of their wedding, could so casually confess such a heinous plot? It speaks to a profound lack of empathy, a chilling detachment from the emotional wreckage they are about to inflict. Toby's silence, His inability to cry or scream immediately is a common psychological response to extreme trauma, a state of shock where the mind struggles to process an unbearable reality. The cold night outside was merely an echo of the colder heart within him, a heart that had just been plunged into an emotional abyss. He found solace, or at least a temporary escape, in the front seat of his car, resting his head heavily on the steering wheel as silent tears, finally breaking free, rolled down his cheeks. This private moment of anguish was interrupted by the arrival of Kelvin, his best friend and best man, whose jovial anticipation quickly turned to alarm at the sight of Toby's ravaged face. "Toby, I've been looking for you. Where did you—" Kelvin's words trailed off, replaced by a stunned silence. "Toby, what's wrong?" he asked, his voice laced with concern. Toby, his eyes red and raw, slowly looked up. "Kelvin, I heard Bella on the phone." Kelvin, sensing the gravity, frowned. "What do you mean?" Toby's voice, thick with pain, cracked as he recounted the devastating confession. "She said she doesn't love me. She said she's marrying me for my money. She told someone else on the phone that after the wedding she'll run away and go back to him, the man she truly loves." Kelvin's face transformed, his mouth agape in disbelief, then morphing into a furious shout. "What? Bad girl. After everything you've done for her, you treat her like a queen. You gave her love, respect, everything. And this is how she pays you back?" Kelvin's reaction is a vital component of this narrative. It provides a moral compass, an unfiltered expression of righteous indignation that many viewers would share. It underscores the profound injustice Toby faced, validating his pain and helping him process the betrayal. Toby, still numb, could only nod. "She said it clearly, Kelvin. I heard everything with my own ears. She said, I'm just a ticket to a rich life, that I'm just a fool." Kelvin's fists clenched in anger. That wicked girl! So all this was just a game to her? The shopping, the pre-wedding shoots, the family meetings, everything was fake? This realization that every loving gesture, every shared moment was a calculated deception is arguably as painful as the betrayal itself. It's the erosion of an entire shared history. Toby, grappling with the profound sense of personal failure that often accompanies betrayal, looked at his best friend, his voice barely a whisper. "What did I do wrong, Kelvin? I gave her my heart. I treated her with love. I wanted to build a home with her. Why would she betray me like this on our wedding day?" This question, "What did I do wrong?" echoes in the minds of countless individuals who have suffered betrayal. It's the desperate search for an explanation, a way to make sense of senseless cruelty, often leading victims to internalize blame. Kelvin, with the wisdom of true friendship, sat beside him and sighed. "Toby, you did nothing wrong. You only loved the wrong girl. That's all." This simple yet profound truth is a crucial step towards healing. It shifts the blame squarely onto the deceiver, where it belongs, freeing Toby from the burden of undeserved guilt. A heavy silence settled between them, a tangible weight of grief and indignation. Then Kelvin, reaching out, held Toby's hand firmly. "Bro, listen to me. I'm with you. Whatever decision you take, I'll support you. If you want to cancel the wedding, I'll stand with you. If you want to confront her, I'll back you. But please don't let this destroy you. You are bigger than this. You're a good man. You don't deserve this kind of pain." This unwavering support from Kelvin is a powerful testament to the importance of true friendship during moments of crisis. It's the anchor that prevents a person from spiraling into complete despair, offering agency and solidarity. Toby closed his eyes, taking a deep, shuddering breath. He wanted to scream, to cry, to simply vanish from existence. The pain was immense, suffocating. But instead, he reached for his phone and dialed his mother's number, his voice a quiet tremor. "Mama," he managed, "I need to talk to you. Please don't tell anyone, especially Bella." His mother's voice, usually calm, was now laced with worry, cutting through the phone line. "My son, what's wrong? It's past midnight. Are you okay?" Toby, wiping away fresh tears, uttered the devastating truth. "No, Mama, I'm not okay." Meanwhile, blissfully unaware of the catastrophe unfolding just moments away, Bella was engrossed in a flurry of activity back at the hotel. Surrounded by her bridesmaids, she snapped endless pictures, proudly displaying her silk bridal robe, her perfectly manicured, glittery nails, and the dazzling diamond engagement ring that now adorned her finger. "Tomorrow, I'll officially be Mrs. Billionaire," she declared, her voice brimming with triumphant pride. Her friend Sandra, echoing her sentiment, laughed. "Ah, Bella, you've won the jackpot. You're going to enjoy life to the fullest." Bella giggled conspiratorially, leaning in to whisper, "They don't know I'm not staying long in that mansion. I just need to secure my name on his account. After that, I'll disappear." The bridesmaids joined in her laughter, a chorus of shared malice and cynical amusement. They were completely oblivious. The elaborate game they thought they were winning was about to be irrevocably turned on its head, and the groom, the supposed unsuspecting victim, was no longer smiling. This juxtaposition is chilling. One person's world is crumbling into dust, while the other revels in the impending execution of her cruel deception. It highlights the profound emotional chasm between genuine love and calculated manipulation. Bella's casual dismissal of Toby as merely a means to an end, her cold calculation of his assets, paints a picture of pure avarice. Her friends, by participating in this conspiratorial laughter, become complicit in her scheme, reflecting a moral vacuum where financial gain triumphs over human decency. Toby sat quietly on the hotel room couch, his hands trembling imperceptibly as he held a cup of untouched water, a silent testament to his profound distress. Kelvin, unable to contain his simmering rage, paced the room like a caged animal, biting his lips and muttering under his breath. Unbelievable wickedness in human form. The air was thick with tension, a heavy stillness broken only by Kelvin's agitated movements. A soft knock echoed through the room. Tap, tap, tap. Kelvin, his jaw tight, walked to the door and opened it. It was Toby's mother, a picture of graceful elegance even at this late hour, dressed in a beautiful lace wrapper and a vibrant green head tie, her face glowing with the anticipation of her son's wedding. But the radiant smile that had adorned her face vanished the moment her eyes met Toby's, instantly sensing the profound sorrow etched there. "My son, what happened?" she asked, her voice filled with a mother's deepest concern, rushing towards him. "Kelvin said it's urgent, and you even told me not to tell Bella. Please talk to me, my child." Toby slowly stood up, his movements heavy and deliberate. He looked into his mother's worried eyes, and then, with a voice that cracked under the immense weight of his pain, he dropped the bombshell. "Mama," he began, his voice barely above a whisper, "there's no wedding again." She blinked, her mind struggling to process his words. "No wedding? What do you mean?" Toby's voice, fragile as glass, explained the devastating truth. "I overheard Bella tonight outside. She was talking on the phone to another man. She told him that she's only marrying me for my money, that once she settles into my house, she'll run away and go back to him." His mother gasped, her hand flying to her chest, a primal reaction of shock and disbelief. "Jesus Christ!" She staggered backward, collapsing onto the bed, her eyes wide with a horrifying realization. Bella, that sweet girl, the one we welcomed into our family? What kind of wickedness is this? Kelvin, quick to support Toby, interjected. "That's exactly what Toby told me, Mama. He heard it with his own ears. That girl is a gold digger." This scene is a poignant exploration of parental love and the devastating impact of betrayal on family. Toby's mother, initially radiating joy, swiftly transitions to profound sorrow and righteous anger. Her question, "What kind of wickedness is this?" isn't just a rhetorical inquiry. It's a lament for the erosion of moral values, a shock at the depth of human deceit. Kelvin's confirmation validates Toby's account, allowing his mother to fully grasp the gravity of the situation. It's a moment of shared grief and anger, solidifying the family's unity against the external threat. Toby's mother shook her head slowly, the pieces of the cruel puzzle falling into place. So all the smiles were fake, all the love she was showing you, all the dancing and prayers, it was all to get your money. Toby could only nod quietly, the truth a bitter pill. She stood up again, her previous calm replaced by the agitated movements of a worried lioness pacing her den. "She should have just asked for money," she declared, her voice tinged with a mix of anger and bewilderment. If she loves money so much, why didn't she say so? Toby would have given her millions without blinking. My son has helped strangers with millions. Why betray his love like this? Kelvin, his own bitterness rising, added, "Women and money, Mama, women and money. Some of them don't care whose heart they break as long as they are living soft." A heavy silence descended upon the room once more, punctuated only by the unspoken anguish of their collective realization. This exchange powerfully highlights Toby's innate generosity and his family's values. His mother's frustration stems from the incomprehensibility of Bella's choice to betray love when wealth, freely given, could have been her path. It underscores the profound difference between a genuine desire for connection and a cold, calculated pursuit of assets. The silence that follows is a moment of reflection, a space for the weight of the betrayal to settle, acknowledging the harsh realities of human greed and its destructive potential. Then, Mama walked over to her son, her eyes filled with a resolute strength, and held his hand firmly. "My son," she said, her voice gentle yet firm. "Don't cry. Don't let this destroy you. I know your heart is bleeding, but please wipe your tears. If this marriage had gone on, you would have suffered endlessly. God saved you. He showed you the truth before it was too late." Toby nodded slowly, but fresh tears welled in his eyes once more, a testament to the lingering pain. "I just don't understand why, Mama," he choked out. "I truly loved her. I was ready to give her the world." "I know, my son," she whispered, pulling him close, offering the primal comfort only a mother can provide. "You did your best. Let her carry her shame. You will find a woman who will love you, not your money." This moment of maternal comfort and wisdom is crucial. It's a powerful narrative beat that shifts the focus from victimhood to resilience. His mother's words are not just comforting, they are empowering, reframing the betrayal as a divine intervention, a blessing in disguise. This perspective is vital for Toby's recovery, helping him to see beyond the immediate pain to the potential for a brighter future. Kelvin cleared his throat, bringing a dose of practicality back into the room. "So, what are we going to do now? Guests are already arriving in the city. Some people even traveled overnight just to attend the wedding." Toby sighed, his decision made. "We'll cancel everything by morning, but I don't want to create a scene tonight. I want to be calm." His mother nodded approvingly. "That's wise. You'll face her tomorrow, but this time with power." Meanwhile, in her lavish suite, Bella was oblivious, lying on her bed, scrolling through her own triumphant pictures on her phone. "This wedding must trend tomorrow," she declared, a smug smile playing on her lips. Her friend Sandra, ever the eager accomplice, produced her makeup box. "Tomorrow we'll paint your face like a goddess. That Toby guy won't know what hit him." Bella giggled, her confidence radiating. Him and his soft heart are already mine. He can't escape it now. She had no idea that Toby already knew the truth and that the coming morning was destined to be her worst nightmare. This stark contrast between Toby's quiet resolve and Bella's arrogant complacency sets the stage for a truly dramatic climax. The soft heart she mocked was precisely what would deliver her downfall. The wedding morning finally arrived, bursting forth with bright, colorful promise. The sun smiled benignly in the sky, birds sang their sweetest melodies, and the city buzzed with an infectious excitement. Bella's hotel suite was a hive of activity, resembling a bustling movie set. Makeup artists moved with practiced efficiency, their brushes and powders transforming faces, while bridesmaids danced to a crescendo of loud music. Cameras clicked incessantly, capturing every joyous pre-wedding moment. Bella herself stood before a grand mirror, resplendent in a glowing white wedding gown that embraced her form, as if custom woven for her. Her hair was curled to perfection, a diamond necklace sparkled like captured stars around her neck, and her lips were painted a vibrant red, reminiscent of freshly bloomed roses. "Girls, how do I look?" she asked, turning slowly, seeking affirmation. Her friend Sandra clapped and screamed with delight. "Bella, you look like an angel! This is truly the wedding of the year!" Another friend, swept up in the euphoria, shouted, "Forget it! This Toby guy is lucky to have you. That mansion is yours now, Queen." Bella smiled, gazing at her reflection, a triumphant gleam in her eyes. "All my suffering is over today. After this wedding, I'm in full control." With a flourish, she picked up a bouquet of pristine white roses, fluffed her long, elaborate veil, and danced her way towards the waiting car. Simultaneously, in the quiet solemnity of Toby's hotel room, a very different picture unfolded. Toby stood utterly still, a stark contrast to the earlier night's emotional storm. He wore a deep blue suit, a crisp white shirt, and a shimmering silver tie, exuding the regal aura of a prince. Yet beneath the fresh perfume and the impeccable shave, his heart remained a reservoir of profound pain. Kelvin, now also impeccably dressed in a smart gray suit, walked in and gently adjusted Toby's collar, a gesture of quiet camaraderie. "You good?" he asked, his voice laced with concern. Toby, forcing a small, tight smile, replied, "Yes, let's do this." Kelvin, needing final confirmation of the magnitude of Toby's decision, asked again, "Are you sure about the plan?" Toby nodded, his resolve hardened. "Yes, I want the whole world to know the truth. No more pretending. If she can lie to me, then I can surprise her." Kelvin, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder, affirmed, "Then I'm with you till the end." This moment before the wedding is charged with incredible tension. Bella's vanity and delusional triumph are juxtaposed against Toby's quiet, steely determination. His choice to expose Bella publicly isn't born of petty revenge, but a deep-seated need for truth and a clear, unambiguous statement against deception. It's a testament to his character that even in his profound pain, he seeks justice, not just personal solace. Kelvin's unwavering loyalty underscores the theme of true friendship, providing Toby with the strength to face what will undoubtedly be a harrowing public ordeal. The church venue was a vision of grandeur and beauty. White and gold ribbons cascaded elegantly, adorning every chair. Vases brimmed with exquisite flowers, their delicate fragrances filling the air. A plush red carpet unrolled majestically down the central aisle, guiding the path to the altar. Guests from every corner of the country had arrived, a glittering assembly of politicians, renowned musicians, influential businessmen, and cherished family friends. A palpable hum of excited whispers filled the hall as everyone eagerly awaited the ceremony. "Toby's wedding is finally here," one guest exclaimed. "Bella is so lucky. They are such a perfect couple." The collective anticipation, tinged with a touch of envy, hung heavy in the air. Suddenly, the grand church doors swung open, signaling the entrance of the groom. Toby and Kelvin marched in, a duo united by loyalty and a shared, heavy secret. Toby walked slowly but with an undeniable air of bold determination. Towards the altar, his posture tall and regal, like a king approaching his throne. A wave of applause rippled through the congregation. Phones were raised high to capture the moment, and the choir began to sing softly, their voices a melodic backdrop to the unfolding drama. He reached the pastor, standing before him with an unsettling calm, ready for the storm he was about to unleash. 10 minutes passed, an eternity for those waiting, and then came the moment everyone had been eagerly anticipating, the arrival of the bride. Bella stepped out of a pristine white limousine, clutching her bouquet tightly. Though her veil partially obscured her face, her radiating joy was unmistakable. Cameras flashed relentlessly, children waved excitedly, and people stood on tiptoes, eager to catch a glimpse of the bride of the year. Behind her, her bridesmaids followed in a procession, dressed in shimmering dark red gowns, holding their own bouquets, their faces adorned with wide, expectant smiles. The entire church rose to its feet as the music swelled, transitioning into the iconic strains of "Here Comes the Bride." Bella began her slow, deliberate walk down the red carpet, her heels clicking softly, her eyes firmly fixed on Toby. In her mind, she wasn't just walking towards her future husband, she was already calculating the vast sums of money waiting in his account, her heart deaf to the music, alive only to the tune of avarice. She finally reached the front of the church, taking her place beside Toby, their figures a stark contrast of innocence and deception. Both faced the pastor, who began the hallowed ceremony. "Dearly beloved," the pastor intoned, his voice resonating through the solemn space, "we are gathered here today to join this man and this woman in holy matrimony. If anyone has a reason why they should not be joined together, speak now or forever. Remain silent." The entire church went utterly quiet. You could almost hear a pin drop. No one moved, no one coughed. The silence was absolute, heavy with expectation. Just then, Toby slowly raised his hand, a ripple of unease passing through the congregation. "Pastor," he requested, his voice steady despite the turmoil within, "please give me the microphone." The crowd gasped, a collective intake of breath. Bella turned to him, her confusion evident, a whispered, "What's going on?" escaping her lips. Kelvin, ever prepared, stepped forward, retrieving a megaphone from beneath the seat and handing it to Toby. Toby surveyed the sea of expectant faces, his gaze sweeping over the congregation, then settling briefly on Bella, and finally on the pastor. His voice, though slightly shaken, held firm. "Ladies and gentlemen, please, before this wedding goes on, there's something I need to say." The hall fell into a dead silence, every ear straining, every gaze fixed. Bella's hand tightened almost painfully on her bouquet. Toby gripped the megaphone with both hands, his heart thundering in his chest, yet his voice emerged clear and bold. He looked around the church, where eyes were wide with anticipation, and many had already retrieved their phones, ready to record. Then he turned and faced Bella, the bride, the woman who had so ruthlessly shattered his heart. Toby took a deep, fortifying breath and began, "Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for coming. I know many of you traveled far and spent money to be here. I appreciate you, but before we continue with this wedding, I need to say the truth." The hall was completely silent, a profound stillness that even silenced the humming of the fans. Even Bella's nervous smile vanished, replaced by an expression of growing dread. Toby continued, his voice gaining strength. "This is not a mistake. I love this woman standing beside me. I gave her everything. My time, my heart, my respect. I introduced her to my family. I gave her my full trust. I was ready to call her my wife today." Bella, attempting to project an air of innocent confusion, smiled nervously and reached for his hand. Toby gently, but firmly, removed his hand from hers, looking straight into her eyes. "But what do I get in return?" he asked, his voice rising, carrying the weight of his profound pain. Last night I came to this hotel to surprise her with flowers. I was happy, I was excited. But as I reached the gate, I heard her voice talking to another man on the phone. Murmurs began to ripple through the crowd, growing louder with each word. Bella's eyes grew wide with panic. She shook her head quickly, a desperate whispered, "Toby, please," barely audible. But Toby was relentless. She told the man she doesn't love me. She said she's only marrying me because I'm rich, that once we're married, she'll settle in, take what she wants, and run back to him. She called me a fool. The murmurs exploded into a cacophony of gasps and shocked exclamations. A woman in the crowd shouted, "Blood of Jesus!" Bella's mother stood up, utterly bewildered, her face a mask of confusion. Toby pressed on, his voice unwavering. She planned everything. The love, the smiles, the hugs, all fake. She only wanted my name, my wealth, my status, not my heart, not my soul. Now, people weren't just murmuring. They were actively recording. Phones were everywhere, held aloft like torches in the digital age. Someone screamed, "Facebook Live is on!" Bella was visibly shaking, her carefully arranged flowers slipping from her trembling hand. "Toby, please let me explain," she pleaded, desperation in her voice. But Toby raised one hand, silencing her. "Explain what?" he asked calmly, his voice chillingly devoid of emotion. "You said it with your own mouth. You said, 'I'm your ticket out of poverty, and the man you truly love is waiting for you.'" He turned back to the stunned pastor. "Sir, I respect you, but I can't marry a woman who used me. This wedding is canceled." A collective scream erupted from the back of the church. Bella, her world crashing down, fainted, collapsing dramatically right there on the altar like a bag of rice. Bridesmaids rushed forward, scrambling to lift her unconscious form. Her perfectly applied makeup smudged, her elaborate wig shifted precariously. Someone frantically ran to fetch water, but the cameras, relentless and unforgiving, continued to flash, capturing every mortifying detail. Click, 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 flash, flash. All eyes, now filled not with celebration but with judgment, were fixed on Bella. Within a mere 20 minutes, the news exploded across social media. "Groom cancels wedding at the altar after catching bride's betrayal on phone," screamed headlines. "Bella, the gold digger, trends nationwide." Hashtags like "wedding of shame, yifasir obitherwise," and "billionaire heartbreak" flooded every platform. The blogs, ever hungry for scandal, were in a frenzy. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, everywhere was buzzing with the scandalous revelation. Bella's friends, who had laughed and conspired with her just hours earlier, now discreetly slipped away, one by one, covering their faces in shame or perhaps fear of association. Her mother, in a desperate attempt to salvage the situation, rushed forward, pleading with Toby, "Please, my son, forgive her. It's the devil." But Toby, his face calm and resolute, merely looked at her. "I'm not angry," he stated quietly. "I'm just free." Kelvin walked to Toby, whispering, "You did the right thing, bro." The choir had fallen silent. The pastor looked utterly bewildered, and the crowd began to slowly disperse. But Toby stood tall, a man liberated from a crushing deception. He cast a final look back at the woman who was supposed to be his wife, and then with unwavering resolve, he walked away. Bella sat slumped on the church floor, still burdened by the heavy white wedding gown that now felt like a shroud of shame. Her face was soaked, not merely with tears, but also from the cold sachet water they had poured on her in a futile attempt to revive her. Her once flawless makeup was completely ruined, streaks of mascara and foundation streaking down her cheeks. Her false eyelashes had detached, clinging haphazardly or lying discarded. Her expensive wig was tilted at an absurd angle, almost as if it, too, wished to escape the humiliation. The once beautiful bride, poised to become a billionaire's wife, had transformed into the unfortunate, viral topic of conversation for the entire country. People were no longer whispering in hushed tones behind her back. They were now speaking openly and boldly, their voices carrying the weight of collective judgment. So she only wanted his money. God has exposed her today. There's no reward for fake love. Bella's mother knelt beside her, trembling, her own face etched with anguish. "Bella, what have you done? What exactly did you do to yourself?" Her father, too ashamed and unable to bear witness, stood at a distance, his back to his daughter, unable to even look at her. The bridesmaids, swift in their self-preservation, quietly disappeared one after the other. Even Sandra, Bella's closest confidant, switched off her phone and slipped out through a discreet back gate, abandoning her friend to the wreckage. Outside the church, the press had gathered like vultures, their large cameras, long microphones, and shouting reporters creating a chaotic scene. "This is breaking news. Toby the billionaire groom calls off his wedding at the altar. Bella accused of planning to marry him just to run off with his money." The sensationalism was palpable. Meanwhile, at Toby's mansion, a different kind of silence reigned. He arrived home quietly, seeking refuge from the relentless noise, the prying questions. He yearned only for peace and rest. But the moment the security gate opened, a blinding flash of cameras erupted. Reporters, a relentless horde, rushed forward, their flashes exploding from every corner. Journalists screamed questions, their voices overlapping in a cacophony of intrusion. "So, is it true your bride betrayed you? What advice do you have for young men about love? Will you still get married this year?" Kelvin, stepping out of the car, raised a hand to ward them off. "Please, no questions, no interviews. My friend needs time and peace." Toby, silent and stoic, walked directly into his house. His mother was already waiting for him, her arms open wide, embracing him tightly. "My son," she whispered, her voice filled with pride and relief. "You were brave today. I'm proud of you. You uncovered the truth before it ruined your life." Toby said nothing, only letting out a deep sigh and nodding slowly. He slumped onto the couch, loosened his tie, and stared blankly at the wall. A man utterly drained. His phone, however, wouldn't stop ringing. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Over 4,000 new messages had flooded in. Celebrities were now reposting the video of the canceled wedding, their comments adding to the public discourse. Some commented, "Toby dodged a bullet." Others offered warnings. "This is what happens when you give your heart to the wrong person." But one particular post, a venomous twist of the knife, caught everyone's attention. It was from Bella's supposed real boyfriend, Philip, the very man she had been speaking with on the phone before the wedding. He wrote in a chilling act of self-preservation and callous betrayal, "I never asked her to betray him. I never told her to use him. She acted on her own." And to make matters worse, he added laughing emojis, a final cruel flourish of mockery. When Bella saw the post later that night, huddled in the desolate hotel room, she screamed, a guttural cry of pure agony, and smashed her phone against the wall. Her entire world was not just crumbling, it was shattering into irreparable pieces. Her phone, even broken, continued to ring relentlessly. Family members, their voices laced with judgment and disappointment, called incessantly demanding answers. "Is this true? How could you embarrass the whole family like this? What were you thinking?" Bella couldn't eat. She couldn't sleep. She ventured online only to find memes of herself trending everywhere. One, particularly stinging, read, "When you think you're marrying a billionaire but you forgot that God is still watching." Another meme featured her fainting picture, overlaid with the caption, "Gold digger caught live on camera, award-winning performance." She turned off her phone, burying her face in her hands, and screamed at the top of her voice, "Why me?" But it was too late. Her face was now ubiquitous. her name a punchline, her shame irrevocably viral. This extended aftermath is a brutal depiction of public humiliation in the age of social media. Philip's betrayal, delivered with such cold indifference and mockery, is the ultimate karmic retribution for Bella. It highlights the transactional nature of her relationships, where loyalty is conditional on gain. Bella's "why me" is not an expression of remorse, but self-pity, demonstrating her inability to take responsibility for her actions. The relentless barrage of memes and family judgment transforms her personal tragedy into a public spectacle, cementing her downfall. It's a chilling reminder of how quickly fame can turn to infamy, and how fleeting perceived success can be when built on a foundation of lies. After all the shame, the relentless noise, and the pervasive gossip, Toby found he could no longer bear it. Everywhere he turned, hushed whispers followed him, and phones, ever present, pointed in his direction. Even within the hallowed walls of his own mansion, peace had become an elusive phantom. So one cool morning, he called Kelvin. They sat together on the expansive balcony, sipping hot tea. The silence between them weighted with unspoken understanding. "Kelvin," Toby said slowly, his voice tinged with weariness, "I need to leave." Kelvin turned quickly, his brows furrowed with concern. "Leave to where?" Toby's gaze drifted to the vast expanse of the sky, a yearning for distance in his eyes. "Somewhere far, anywhere that no one knows me. I need to breathe. I need to heal. If I stay here, this pain will choke me." Kelvin's face fell, but he understood the desperate need for escape. "But what about the company?" he asked, practicality warring with empathy. Toby nodded gently. "That's why I'm calling you. You've been my best friend for years. Handle the company, pay the workers, keep things going." Kelvin, without hesitation, held Toby's hand firmly. "You have my word, brother. I'll protect your company like my own." Toby then turned to his mother. Though heartbroken by his decision to depart, she understood the profound necessity of his journey. He embraced her tightly, a silent promise in his touch. "Mama," he whispered, "don't worry, I'll be fine. I just need time, maybe a year." He traveled lightly, shunning the usual trappings of his immense wealth. There were no security details, no opulent convoy, no luxury vehicles. He abandoned his fleet of expensive cars and, in a striking departure from his accustomed lifestyle, left in a small commercial bus, seeking anonymity and simplicity. 2 days later, he arrived in Riverline Town, a small, peaceful haven tucked away from the clamor of urban life. The town was characterized by its profound calm, its quiet rhythms undisturbed by the incessant noise of the city, devoid of cameras and the intrusive gaze of strangers. Here, no one knew his name, no one recognized his face from viral videos. He rented a modest room near the riverbank, a humble abode far removed from the grandeur of his palace-like mansion. Every morning he embarked on long, contemplative walks along the riverside, observing the local fishermen as they patiently pulled their nets from the water, a ritual of daily life that spoke of timeless simplicity. He offered his help to the children in the area, assisting them with carrying firewood, finding a quiet joy in these small acts of service. He greeted the elders with genuine respect, a gesture that resonated deeply within the close-knit community. They perceived him merely as a quiet, unassuming young man, a gentle soul. None suspected that this man had once owned towering buildings in the bustling city. None knew that this was Toby, the billionaire who had dramatically canceled a wedding at the altar, his heart shattered by betrayal. This profound shift in lifestyle, from extreme opulence to humble anonymity, represents Toby's conscious decision to detach from the very things that had attracted Bella and that had, in a way, contributed to his pain. It's a profound act of self-healing, a quest for inner peace that transcends material possessions. 1 month into his self-imposed exile, on a cool evening when the wind blew softly and the sky was painted in hues of golden twilight, Toby sat on a low wooden bench near the river, watching birds gracefully arc across the heavens. The tranquility was absolute. Just then, a soft, almost imperceptible sound of crying reached his ears. He turned slowly and saw a young woman sitting beneath the ancient shade of a mango tree, her head bowed, quietly weeping. Her dress was plain, worn, and her sandals were dusty, testament to a life of quiet labor. She hugged herself, as if seeking warmth, despite the mild evening air. Toby, his inherent compassion stirred, stood up and walked towards her slowly, cautiously. "Hello. Excuse me," he began gently. "Are you okay?" The girl looked up, her eyes swollen and red from tears. She quickly wiped her face, attempting to compose herself. "I'm fine," she said, her voice a shaky whisper. "I'll be going soon." Toby observed her carefully. She wore no makeup. Her dress was simple and well-worn, yet her innate beauty shone through the veil of her sadness, an authentic radiance untouched by artifice. "I'm sorry for disturbing," Toby said gently. "I just saw you crying and I thought maybe you needed someone to talk to." She looked at him again, a flicker of surprise in her tear-filled eyes, then sighed deeply. "My name is Jessica. I live and work in the orphanage home near the market." Toby nodded, a sense of quiet understanding settling over him. "I'm Toby. I just moved here last month." Jessica looked down, fresh tears beginning to well up. "Today makes exactly 15 years since I lost my parents in a car accident. I was just a little girl. They were taking me to school, and that was the last time I saw them." Toby's heart dropped, a profound empathy stirring within him. Jessica continued, her voice heavy with the weight of memory. "Since then, I've lived in the orphanage. I grew up there. Now I help take care of the other children, feed them, bathe them, tell them stories. But every year on this same date," she added, her voice cracking with emotion, "I come here to cry. I just sit here and talk to the wind. It helps me feel like my parents can still hear me." She swallowed hard. "But it's hard. I always smile around the children, but deep inside, I'm still broken." Toby sat beside her gently, not speaking for a while, allowing the silence to convey his understanding. "Then," he whispered, his voice soft but resonant with shared experience, "pain knows pain, and only those who have truly suffered understand silence." Jessica looked at him, surprised, then a very small, sad smile touched her lips. "You speak like someone who has been through a lot." Toby looked away, a shadow crossing his eyes. "I have." They sat quietly by the riverside, watching the moon begin its ascent. Two strangers, two broken hearts, finding a strange, shared peace in the solitude of the evening. This encounter with Jessica is the turning point in Toby's healing. Her authentic pain, her resilience, and her humble existence resonate deeply with his own journey. The line, "pain knows pain," is a powerful expression of empathy that transcends words, creating an immediate, unspoken bond between them. The next morning, Toby found he couldn't stop thinking about Jessica. Her sad eyes, the quiet strength in her voice, the poignant story of her loss, it all stayed with him, stirring something profound within his own healing heart. He returned to the riverside, hoping to find her there, but she was gone. Then he remembered her words. She lived and worked in an orphanage home near the market. Following her directions, he made his way through the bustling market, and there she was, sweeping the small compound in front of a faded building, its worn-out sign proclaiming it, "Sunlight Orphanage Home." Toby paused at the gate, observing her from a distance. She wore a simple, oversized T-shirt and had an old wrapper tied around her waist, a testament to her unassuming nature. But the way she laughed, a genuine, unforced sound, as children playfully ran around her, sent a warmth spreading through Toby's chest, a feeling he hadn't experienced in months. A small boy, Kenny, darted past and hugged her waist, shouting, "Auntie Jessie! Auntie Jessie! I finished my morning chores!" Jessica bent down, kissing his forehead with affection. "Good boy, Kenny. Go and help Blessing now, okay?" Toby walked in slowly, a gentle smile gracing his lips. Jessica turned, her face lighting up with recognition. "Hey, Toby, you found the orphanage." "I followed through the market," Toby replied, returning her smile. "I wanted to see how you do this. The way you care for them, it's special." Jessica put down her broom, a gesture of welcome. "Come, let me show you around." She led him from room to room, revealing cramped bunks squeezed together, broken cupboards, and old plastic buckets. Yet, despite the obvious signs of poverty, the entire place vibrated with an infectious joy. The children, their smiles wide and uninhibited, ran around barefoot, their faces radiant with happiness. In the backyard, a young girl diligently washed clothes in a large basin, while another boy sang cheerfully as he spread wet shirts on a rope to dry. Toby was amazed. "Are these kids always this cheerful?" Jessica smiled, a profound wisdom in her eyes. "We have nothing, but we have each other. They are my family." Then she turned to him, a mischievous glint in her eye. "Toby, would you like to help serve lunch?" He laughed, a genuine hearty sound that felt liberating. "I've never done it before, but show me how." Soon he found himself wearing a faded apron, wielding a big spoon, and joining Jessica in the small, bustling kitchen. Together, they dished out plates of simple rice and beans, each portion containing tiny pieces of fish. As each child approached with their plate, they shouted in unison, "Thank you, Uncle Toby! Thank you, Auntie Jessie!" Toby knelt down, gently rubbing their heads, a smile spreading across his face, a true, heartfelt smile, one he hadn't genuinely felt in months. One small girl, Blessing, whispered to Jessica, "Auntie, is he your husband?" Jessica blushed, a charming flush rising to her cheeks. "No, Blessing, he's just a friend." But when she turned to look at Toby, their eyes locked, and in that fleeting moment something profound passed between them. Not words, not plans, but something real, a nascent connection that transcended spoken language. Weeks turned into a rhythm of routine and growing affection. Toby, now a regular fixture at the orphanage, devoted his time and energy to improving the children's lives. He helped paint the broken chairs, painstakingly fix the leaking tap in the bathroom, and carefully planted small, colorful flowers by the entrance, transforming the previously faded surroundings. Jessica, in turn, laughed more freely, her spirit visibly lighter. The children now eagerly awaited his arrival every evening, their excited shouts of, "Uncle Toby is coming!" echoing through the compound as soon as they spotted him. One evening, as the sun began its descent, painting the sky in fiery hues, Toby and Jessica sat together on an old bench outside the orphanage. Jessica turned to him, her gaze thoughtful. "You've changed, Toby. When I first met you, you looked like a man hiding deep pain, but now you smile more. You laugh. You look lighter." Toby looked at her gently, his eyes filled with gratitude. "That's because I found peace here, Jessica, and you helped me find it." Jessica turned her face away shyly, a delicate blush rising on her cheeks. "Toby," she murmured. He gently touched her hand, a gesture of quiet affection. "You don't have to say anything. Let's just enjoy this." She didn't pull her hand away. Instead, she smiled, a genuine, radiant smile, and leaned her head on his shoulder. For the first time in a very long time, Toby's heart felt truly at home again. This period of Toby's life is a powerful illustration of healing through service and authentic connection. He found purpose not in his immense wealth, but in the simple act of caring for others. Jessica and the children provided him with the unconditional love and acceptance that Bella, had so cruelly denied him. His transformation is evident not just in his external demeanor, but in the return of his real smile. The nascent physical contact, the shared silence, all signify a relationship built on genuine respect, empathy, and shared vulnerability, the polar opposite of his previous engagement. Exactly 1 year had passed since Toby had deliberately left the glittering city behind, leaving its noise, its expectations, and its painful memories in his wake. In that year, he had not merely endured, he had truly healed. The deep wounds of betrayal, once raw and agonizing, had slowly scarred over, leaving him stronger, wiser, and more whole. He laughed again, a genuine, unburdened sound that resonated from his core. He loved again, a pure, authentic affection born not of superficiality but of shared humanity. But now the time had come. The period of quiet introspection and healing was drawing to a close. It was time to return, to reclaim the life he had left behind, and to take the final, decisive step towards building a future rooted in truth. That evening, Toby sat with Jessica under the familiar shade of the mango tree near the river, the very spot where they had shared their first truly vulnerable conversation. The sky was awash in the warm hues of an orange sunset, and a soft, gentle breeze whispered through the leaves. Toby, his heart full, gently held her hand. "Jessie," he began, his voice soft but resolute, "there's something I need to tell you." Jessica turned to him quickly, a flicker of apprehension in her eyes. "What is it, Toby?" "I'm going back to the city tomorrow," he confessed. Jessica's smile, which had been so radiant moments before, faded instantly. Her fingers, almost imperceptibly, slipped from his hand. "You're leaving?" she whispered, her voice low and shaky, imbued with a sudden fear of loss. Toby looked at her, a hidden smile playing on his lips. "Yes, to continue what I left behind, but I want you to do something for me." Jessica looked down, fighting back the welling tears, her voice barely audible. "Anything." "Tell the staff at the orphanage," Toby requested. "I want to meet all of them, the kids too. Let them all be around tomorrow. I have something to say." Jessica quickly wiped her eyes, a glimmer of hope piercing her sadness, and nodded. "Okay, I'll tell them." The next day, everyone was assembled, their faces a mixture of anticipation and curiosity. The children sat quietly on low benches beneath the tree, their small faces looking up expectantly. The staff stood behind them, whispering amongst themselves, wondering what this unusual meeting could possibly be about. Then Toby walked in, but this time he looked subtly different. The quiet, humble man of Riverline Town was still there, but there was an added polish, a newfound gravitas. He was clean-shaven, his shirt neatly ironed, and a warm, confident smile lit his face. In his hand he held a small black box, its significance a mystery to all but him. Jessica stood at the front, her heart beating a rapid rhythm, unsure why she felt such a surge of emotion. Toby smiled warmly at the assembled crowd. "Thank you all for making me feel like family," he began, his voice resonating with genuine emotion. "You gave me peace when I had none. You gave me joy when I had no reason to smile. And most of all," he paused, his gaze sweeping over the children, "I promise to support you all. Your feeding, your education, and your future." The children's faces erupted in delighted smiles. Some of the staff covered their mouths in disbelief, others giggled softly, overcome with emotion. Then Toby turned to Jessica, his eyes filled with a love that was both profound and pure. "You," he said softly, his voice thick with emotion, "you gave me love when I thought love was dead." Toby then got down on one knee, a gesture that caused Jessica to gasp. He opened the small black box, revealing a shining silver ring nestled within. "Jessica," he said slowly, each word deliberate and heartfelt, You taught me that love doesn't need wealth or fame. It just needs truth. And you are my truth. Will you marry me?" Jessica froze, her mouth agape in shock. Tears, unbidden and overflowing, streamed down her face like rain. "Yes," she whispered, her voice barely audible, then louder with joyful conviction. "Yes, yes, yes!" The children, witnessing the magical moment, jumped up and screamed with delight. "Auntie Jessie said yes." They clapped. They danced around the overjoyed couple, their innocent joy a perfect counterpoint to the sincerity of the moment. Toby stood up and gently slipped the ring onto her finger. He whispered into her ear, his voice thick with emotion. "You're not staying here, my love. You're coming with me to where I truly belong, to your new home." Jessica smiled through her tears, her heart overflowing. The children, unable to contain their excitement, ran forward and hugged Toby and Jessica tightly, a spontaneous embrace of love and belonging. This second proposal is the narrative's emotional zenith for Toby. It demonstrates his complete healing and the profound shift in his values. He proposes not with grand gestures of wealth, but with a simple, genuine ring and a declaration of pure, unadulterated love, emphasizing truth over fame or wealth. His promise to the orphanage children further reinforces his generosity and his commitment to his newfound community. Jessica's reaction, tears of joy, not calculation, solidifies her as the antithesis of Bella. This scene is a powerful affirmation of authentic love, winning over superficiality. Later that evening, Toby and Jessica boarded a private car, leaving Riverline Town behind. They drove for hours, the rural landscape gradually giving way to the sprawling lights of the city. They reached the mansion just after sunset. As the driver opened the colossal wrought iron gate, Jessica's eyes widened in utter amazement. The house was massive, a breathtaking edifice of white walls flanked by tall, stately palm trees, its grandeur culminating in imposing golden doors. She turned slowly to Toby, her voice a hushed whisper. "Is this where you live?" Toby smiled, a warmth in his eyes. "Yes. Welcome home." Jessica placed a hand over her chest, her heart fluttering. "This house is so beautiful, but you never told me." Toby looked at her, his gaze gentle and sincere. "I didn't want to impress you with things, Jessica. I wanted to win your heart with truth." The next morning, Toby called Kelvin. As soon as Kelvin entered the grand house and saw Jessica, a broad smile spread across his face. "This must be her," he exclaimed, his voice filled with genuine warmth. "The woman who gave our boss a second life." Toby laughed, a sound of pure contentment, and embraced Kelvin warmly. "Thank you for holding things down," he said gratefully. Kelvin nodded. "The company is doing great, but honestly, everyone missed you, especially Mama." Right on cue, Toby's mother arrived, walking in with her usual grace, her eyes filled with a mixture of anticipation and emotion. She saw Jessica, and her face softened immediately. "You must be the one my son couldn't stop talking about," she said, her voice gentle and approving. Jessica bowed her head respectfully. "Yes, ma'am." Toby's mother walked forward and held Jessica's hand. "My daughter," she said, her voice brimming with affection. "You are beautiful inside and out. Thank you for bringing my son back to life." They embraced, a silent acceptance passing between them. 2 weeks later, the mansion was once again decorated, but this time the atmosphere was profoundly different. There was no intrusive press, no curious strangers, no lurking drama, only close friends, family, and, in a heartwarming touch, a small bus from the orphanage, carrying the staff and the joyous children, filled the space. Jessica walked down the aisle in a simple, elegant white gown, her eyes shining with pure love, locked firmly with Toby's. He stood at the altar in a dark blue suit, his face beaming with pride. This time, when the pastor asked, "If there's anyone who has a reason why these two should not be joined," the entire hall was silent, a profound stillness that resonated with genuine blessing. But in a moment of innocent humor, the children sitting in the front rows whispered amongst themselves, "If anybody talks now, we'll beat them." Laughter, light and genuine, filled the air. And this time, Toby, his voice clear and unwavering, said, "I do." Jessica, her heart overflowing, echoed, "I do." And so, their story, a testament to resilience and true love, had only just begun. This second wedding is the ultimate symbolic reversal of the first. The absence of media, the presence of the orphanage children, and the collective genuine joy underscore the core values of this union: authenticity, community, and unconditional love. Toby's decision to reveal his wealth only after Jessica's love was secured further emphasizes his commitment to a relationship built on truth. The quiet, simple elegance of the ceremony, contrasted with Bella's extravagant, fraudulent one, highlights the profound difference between show and substance. The children's protective whispers add a touch of innocent charm, a final, humorous note confirming that this love is cherished and real. Meanwhile, back in the quieter, less forgiving corners of the city, a very different narrative was unfolding. It was a quiet afternoon, the streets almost empty, the sun high but the air carrying a strange sadness. Bella sat alone at the front of her old apartment building, a shell of her former self. Her face was pale, her eyes swollen and red-rimmed from incessant crying. Her once lustrous hair was rough and unkempt, her fashionable clothes replaced by a faded, loose t-shirt. There was no makeup, no jewelry, no trace of the confident smile she once wore. She clutched an old photo frame in her hand, a poignant relic of a shattered dream. It was their pre-wedding photo, Toby's and hers. In the picture, they looked perfect, a glamorous couple, but now the image only served to bring fresh tears. As she stared at it, droplets blurred the glass. "I messed up. I messed up," she whispered, a broken litany of regret. She didn't notice her friend Sandra walk in, stopping abruptly and looking at Bella with profound sadness. "Bella," Sandra called softly, her voice filled with a weary concern. "What are you thinking about again?" Bella quickly wiped her face, attempting to regain some semblance of composure. "Nothing," she muttered, her voice hoarse. Sandra sat beside her, her gaze empathetic. "Have you heard?" she said slowly. "Toby has gotten married." Bella froze, her hands trembling uncontrollably. "I heard it," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "A friend sent me the pictures." Sandra sighed, then broached another painful topic. "Bella, what about that guy? Philip, the one you left Toby for?" At the mention of his name, Bella completely broke down again. She covered her face, sobbing harder, the floodgates of her bottled-up pain finally bursting open. "You won't believe it," she choked out through her tears. "Philip had been cheating on me long before that wedding collapsed." Sandra's eyes widened in shock. "What?" Bella nodded slowly, her body racked with fresh sobs. "I gave him everything, my heart, my body, my trust. I promised him I would leave Toby, marry him, and take money from Toby's wealth to support his fake dreams." Sandra shook her head, a grim certainty in her eyes. "I knew it from the day he made that wicked post online. When your crashed wedding was trending, I knew he was no good. He never loved you, Bella." Bella looked at her with red-rimmed eyes, the truth a bitter realization. "He said, since I couldn't keep my promise to marry Toby and bring him money, he had no reason to stay." Sandra hissed, a sound of disgust. "So because the plan failed, he dumped you." Bella cried even harder. "Yes, just like that. And now it's been a year. My mother still hasn't forgiven me. She said I threw away a good man, that Toby had everything, heart, money, respect. But I chose fake love and destroyed my life." Sandra placed a hand on her shoulder, a gesture of tough love. "Bella, I won't lie to you. You made a big mistake. But you can't die like this. Look at yourself. You were the most beautiful girl in the city. Look at you now." Bella sniffed, a heartbreaking sound of self-pity. "I can't believe he left me. I can't believe I gave up everything for a man who never loved me." Sandra stood up, her voice firm with conviction. "My dear, listen. You have to pick yourself up. Wash your face. Look beautiful again. Maybe God will give you another man. But don't sit here and die in regret. Life is not over." Bella looked at her old reflection in the dusty window. Her once glowing skin was now dry and dull. Her voice was shaky, devoid of its former confidence. But deep inside, a flicker of understanding ignited. Sandra was right. She whispered to herself, the words a painful confession. "I threw away the only man that truly loved me. I betrayed gold for dust." This final act of Bella's story delivers the harsh truth of poetic justice. Philip's betrayal, mirroring her own, completes the cycle of deceit and leaves her utterly bereft. Her descent into despair, her physical and emotional ruin, are direct consequences of her choices. Her "I messed up and betrayed gold for dust" represent a painful, albeit belated moment of self-awareness. Sandra's tough love offers a glimmer of hope, but it's a long, arduous road to redemption. Bella's journey serves as a powerful cautionary tale against the corrosive power of greed and the devastating consequences of choosing superficial gain over genuine human connection. 2 months later, back in the vibrant city, Toby and Jessica were glowing, their joy a beacon of authentic happiness. Their home, once a silent testament to Toby's solitary wealth, was now filled with love, laughter, and a profound sense of peace. Jessica was pregnant, and her natural beauty, already captivating, radiated with an even brighter, more luminous glow. She moved gently, her hands often resting protectively on her growing stomach, a serene smile gracing her lips at every turn. Toby, fulfilling the promise of his true nature, treated her like a queen, not with opulent gifts as he once did, but with profound love and unwavering devotion. He cooked breakfast with her every morning, rubbed her tired feet at night, and read books to her belly, his voice a soothing lullaby for their unborn child. One morning, Jessica looked into his eyes, her voice a soft whisper brimming with gratitude. "I never thought I would ever be this happy," she confessed, tears of joy welling in her eyes. Toby kissed her forehead tenderly, his heart full. "I prayed for peace, my love," he said, "and I found it in you." Their home was warm, their hearts were full, and love had found them. A real, quiet, patient love, built on a foundation of truth and mutual respect. As for Bella, she continued to walk slowly through her altered life, her choices having carved a path of regret and solitude. Her story, a stark contrast to Toby's burgeoning happiness, had become a profound lesson, one she would carry with her always, because in the end, she had betrayed true love, and in doing so, had watched it become someone else's forever. The narrative concludes with the affirmation that authentic love, built on truth and humility, ultimately triumphs, leaving those who pursue fleeting material gain with nothing but the emptiness of their choices. This story is a powerful reminder that while wealth can buy many things, it cannot purchase genuine love, respect, or inner peace. True happiness is found not in accumulation, but in connection, not in external validation, but in internal integrity. It teaches us that integrity, though sometimes tested, is its own reward, and that kindness, often overlooked, is the most enduring currency of all. The choices we make, particularly in matters of the heart, ripple through our lives, shaping our destiny. May we all be wise enough to choose gold, not glitter, in our pursuit of a life truly well lived.